So I'll go first. So intentions are to just sort of begin norms and culture for the labs and start to just get an idea of what this is going to evolve into and just see how the flow works. Distractions. I have a bunch of people in my room right now. I have people in my room, and then work or something to share. Radar, labs radar is I guess the praise in it. Octopus is making progress on the praise analysis. The bonding curve presentation went really well. With Sam, YGG, and Jeff, and hosted by Heater in the CAD community. And I think that's yeah. So I'll pass it over to Chewy.
Thanks, YGG. Intentions. Well, I find pretty much everything that happens around labs super interesting, but at the same time, I don't get most of it. So now that it's starting to become a working group, I really, really like to like keep on sync with this working group. Um, as a personal intention, like I'm starting to work on a project, educating a community of musicians that pretty much do like independent booking for different bands. So these guys are in contact with different communities, and I think that's really like the tough part of getting people together and reach a common goal, like the technology and all of this. uh, I know that I don't get most of it, but in a way, I find it like as an easy part. So trying to understand more the technical side of token engineering and how all of this is put together to like be customized around the specific project is something that really really has my curiosity. So uh, yeah, I'd like to start coming to this working group and try to get a hold of this. Distractions. I'm visiting my cousin and his dogs won't shut up. Like they bark nonstop. But I'm getting used to it. And radar. Oh yeah, I think that's I like when I talked about this other project, I meant the radar. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll pass it to Juanca.
Thanks, Chewy. Well, I feel the same. Like, I am not a technical expert, and for me, this is a challenge. And like, my intention is to learn as much as I can and to contribute from my point of view. Um, I think my distraction is that I am hungry. I am waiting for my girlfriend to have lunch, and like, I haven't had breakfast, but it's just that. And what I want to like keep on the radar is that DAO to DAO collaborations for me is like super interesting topic, and for me all the tools that are being developed and proposed to foster collaboration between DAOs from the technical and from the cultural side are super interesting. So yeah, that's like one topic that I like. And I will pass to Sam.
Thank you, Juanca. Well, actually, I was procrastinating, and so distraction is like I was here with a model for conviction voting, trying to check it out, and I heard Septi that was in the labs and said, "Hey, it looks like what I'm doing now fits very well with this call." So I just wanted to came and explain here it comes intentions. The that I am working on the conviction voting parameters dashboard because it probably is going to be needed by one Hive sooner than later, and it's also part of the Commons upgrade dashboard. So I was advancing on that. Maybe I can explain a little bit better later. And also I think that intentional distractions and and the lab radar is the same for me. I'm going to pass to who is left, Craig.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks, Sam. Yeah, this is cool. Distractions are many. I'll start there. So pardon me in advance. And then intentions. Yeah, I just caught this. I wasn't planning necessarily. Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Labs is kind of like where I've always wanted to be active and have intentionally put up some barriers for myself because I feel like I could maybe shirk some other responsibilities in my life as I sink my teeth in. And so I think that's likely still my intent here is I want to participate, and I don't know how much I can actively contribute to the group, but I want to try. In my other life, I'm a hydroclimate data analyst, and so all this stuff that Sean and Block Science and that the whole group has been working on has been fascinating to me. So yeah, I'm going to do my best to be active in this group, and at the very least, be straggling along as I often do. And yeah, I think that's all. I'm last, I think. So maybe back to YGG.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. This is great. So this is really my intention for these lab syncs because I think there's going to be a lot of other spaces that labs developments will happen. The Sunday work sessions are really nice. They enable a different kind of space than what you usually see in the TEC, with the 1 hour constraints. Because to work on some really complex problems, sometimes it just takes a lot of time to open it up, and you kind of got to think slower, and there's more details to think through. And so on Sundays, we've got these 4 hour hack sessions going, and those are perfect. And there's no obligation for 4 hours, but if people can pop in for an hour or 2 hours and see what people are working on. So I think that's going to be a really good space for development. And I think there might be a few other spaces for development that are popping up as well. And so the purpose of these sessions on Fridays will be exactly what we just did, to have a space where everyone can get together and share what they're excited about, what they're interested about, what they want to see, and what they want to learn. And then we can start to curate those into the actual sort of working spaces like the Sunday hack sessions. And So this is awesome. We'll have an agenda that grows every week. We can take notes and get kind of this temperature check of on the technical, but also the cultural side. Like Juanca mentioned, the DAO to DAO collaboration, super interesting on both the tech and cultural side. So I think what I'm going to do right now, and I think we'll have some time. These on Friday are just going to be 30 minutes. And I think what I'll do, I'm just going to go through these and highlight some of the kind of more concrete things that we can, that could be like focus topics in the labs. Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in. I didn't really get a chance to add, but I was just gonna say,
Decentralized SDGs. Sorry, did we skip?
You might have skipped someone else too. I don't know if Zeppy got to speak. I don't know, but anyway.
Good point. Thank you. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say. My intent was more. I really just kind of want to learn a bit more, especially specifically with CAD/CAD. I find it fascinating. I've been taking a little bit of the boot camp, but I also will take this opportunity to, I guess, distraction just been my work. I've just been busy with a lot of other things, but I try to make as much time as I can for this TDC because I really it's one of my favorite things. And what I wanted to throw on the radar, I'd put in the general. Actually on within the UN system a blockchain solution, and we're sort of moving towards prototypes. So we're posting it on the online volunteering site, which is where we actually officially try to recruit people through the United Nations Innovation Network. But I think we'd be looking for like a collective intelligence into how we could basically move this forward, because it's sort of a pro bono project inside the UN system that I'm working on. So I just want to throw that out there. So if people are interested, take a look at that. I put it in the incubator hash, and feel free to just DM me if you want a little bit more information.
That's super cool.
Yeah, I can also take it. My intention for the call is like also learning, but not like like learning what we can do with the tools we have and what we are developing, and see how it's going like for the future, and it excites me. And I don't have any distraction, so happy to be here. Back to you, YG.
Awesome, thank you, Zeptimus. Now, is there anyone else? I feel bad, but I think that's everyone. Thanks guys. Thanks for Decentralized SDGs for pointing that out. And awesome. No distractions. Cool. So I'm gonna highlight a couple of these. Learning with CAD/CAD, this UN blockchain work. I would love to learn about hydroclimate data analysis. That is super cool.
Are you talking to me? Sorry.
Yeah.
I figured there probably weren't many. So yeah, sorry.
That's super neat, Craig. Hydroclimate. So that's the study of like water in the like rain and clouds?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I'm technically called a hydrologist. So I just do a lot of numerical modeling, both flow and using downscaled climate projections and water quality type of stuff and big data sets. And it's all in support of fish species. I work with a bunch of biologists, and I'm sort of the civil engineer guy of the group.
Cool. That's really neat. would you want to maybe at some point do a little workshop or something on hydrology?
I would contemplate it. Sure. Yeah, we could talk. We could talk about that.
Cool. That's awesome. Okay, let's see. Conviction voting with Sem. I think we'll so let me highlight that. DAO to DAO. Community of musicians. That's an interesting one. And then we have praise and the bonding curves. So Sem, do you want to go into what you were working on with conviction voting?
Yeah, sure. I just started the project now, so let me explain what I'm doing, and I will share my screen.
Cool.
The thing is that yesterday in One Hive they were asking about the thing is that we selected some parameters like 1 year ago or something like that
I don't see your
for
screen, Sam.
initialization. You listen to me. You are not seeing my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, wait a sec. Now?
Fantastic.
Okay. We selected some one year ago the parameters of One Hive using this spreadsheet, which is the MVP for the thing that we are going to do now. And the idea is that you select here the MAC ratio that each proposal can ask on one time. This is the 6% of the total funding pool. A proposal should not ask more than 6% because the conviction, if not, it's never going to pass. And the mean threshold is which will be the mean threshold even if you are asking for one dye or one drop of honey. This at least is going to be the minimum amount of conviction in relation to all the honey stake that you will need in order to get a very little portion of honey from the common pool. So having these two parameters and guessing an amount of honey for the pool, we can see the different amounts that are requested from the common pool. For example, if you are asking for 5% of the common pool, then you will need a lot of conviction that it is going to be impossible. But if you are asking for 2% of the common pool, then you will need 6% of conviction. And as you know, conviction in conviction voting, it is accrued over time. So depending on how much tokens you have staked in a proposal, it will go faster or slower, but it will also reach at a certain point a certain maximum of conviction. So you will need a lot of at least 6% of the total tokens in order to reach the amount, in order to be able to get a proposal that gets at 2% of the funding pool. So this was the idea, that we had some old parameters and some new parameters. Probably these are the ones that these are the ones that are right now, and these are the ones that we were going to propose in the future. The names are changed because whatever. It was an old document, and now things are being proposed here. But it is not so good because we don't have any visualization of the data, only these tables here. And I was working on the Jupyter Lab in order to do something like what YGG is doing, but I have a hard time doing this. I'm like trying to.
This is awesome, Sam. Good work.
I am trying to copy and paste what you usually do, and
It's looking great.
yeah, basically they are four parameters, but this is how conviction accrues over time. It only depends on one of them. Then there are other things that other visualizations that we can do, but basically this decay parameter that goes from 0 to 1 shows us the amount of conviction that is saved from one time to another. So at the end, it shows the pace in which conviction will accrue. So for example, if you have a lower decay, conviction goes much faster until the 100% of conviction. But if you have, basically, I don't know how to do that because I have 0809 and I don't know how to make it smoother. It's a parameter that it's right in here, but whatever.
Yeah, there's another parameter called step.
Okay. And yes, this is what I was working. But as I was saying, I was procrastinating because I have a lot of other important things. Well, I mean, a lot of other things that should be urgent things that I should be doing. I feel like I want to do that.
You're procrastinating by modeling conviction voting. I get it.
Yeah.
It's better than watching Netflix.
Today
I have a question
was
because
like
if you're showing that example, it was that like a multi proposal round, or was it just like one proposal? Should I get X amount of some amount or not? Because I was thinking if it's the latter, that conviction voting wouldn't make as much sense, right? Conviction voting is more when you're like having a multiple proposals and you have to sort of put your conviction in one of the pots. So I was just curious on the first part on the Excel file, if that was like a multi-proposal round or if that was like just showing the differences, the way it's sort of like steeps, it has a curve as you're trying to take more out from the pot.
You are talking about having different proposals, and I think that I didn't understand completely.
It was just more my point was like conviction voting to me seems appropriate when you have like four proposals for a project, right? You have project proposal A, proposal B, proposal C, and you have money in the pot and you need to decide which one you want to fund. But I wasn't sure because the Excel file, it looked like you were just asking, should this proposal get funded or not? Where that one to me seems more like a quadratic voting system would make more sense. Because if it's a binary question, should we fund this, yes or no? I was just trying to wrap my head around why a longer, like being more convinced of that, what benefit that would have.
Okay.
So it's kind of like the quality of conviction voting in different arenas. Like if we live in a world where there's tons of options, like thousands of proposals getting submitted, versus a very concrete, like there's one decision to make at a time and it's yay or nay. And so yeah, that's super interesting. I mean, that insights would come through modeling, but also I think one of the advantages of OneHive, the model, is like fast dispatch, right? With conviction voting is that you don't need a huge amount of quorum to get something passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you are staking in one proposal, you cannot be staking at another one at the same time.
Yeah, right. No,
the same tokens they cannot be staked in the other one. So I don't know if I really didn't understand very well the question.
No, it was just more like 'cause in the Excel file, you had that Excel file, and I was just trying to understand if the Excel file was, here. Is it based on, is it just looking at, it's just a what is percent, so that's just looking at the total of the pool you're taking, right? The second, like 8.
Okay. I think that it will
Column
be,
I was just trying to figure out what column I was.
I think that it is better if I clarify better what all the percentage are. These are 2 parameters, and this mean threshold means that even if you are asking a very slow, a very small amount of honey, actually it is it is not that. Let's see how it's done. The actual value is this one, but I don't know how it is done. Now, okay. So no,
Hey Sam, are you gonna push that research notebook with conviction voting?
yeah, sure. I will finish it. I mean, when I have it, I will push it. The thing is that you define here which is the minimum threshold, even if you are asking a very small amount of honey, and then it appears here. This MAC ratio is the maximum amount of, for example, if you go to 6%, then above 6%, it is not going to pass ever. But even if you are asking for a 5%, it is not going to pass either. The maximum amount is around 4 dot something. But it is difficult to get, because this is the asymptote of the threshold formula. And so this is the amount requested in relation to the, so for example, Gardens is asking for 60 honey in relation to the amount of honey in the common pool. Let's imagine that it's I don't know, less than 1%. I don't know right now how much is it, but it will be this column here. Right? Actually, by the way, it will be this column here, and then the threshold required is this threshold here, 2.8 of conviction required. And if this was much higher or the common pool had a different number, this threshold will change.
Yeah, I see. No, I do get it. I was just wondering also then on the conviction for a no, does that also grow? I mean, what if I'm convinced the opposite, right? I'm super convinced this should not pass. Does my conviction does the negative conviction also?
There is no negative conviction.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. That was my thinking was actually.
Okay, great. No, there is not. And it is possible theoretically, but we thought that it will make things. It will add new incentives to the whole thing. Actually, it's something that will be easy to implement, but Sagram said that it will be crazy how things will go if we put negative conviction.
Because I mean, just to make, because this one just does allow for. Yeah, it makes passing easier, which I see, but if that's what you want, but it doesn't allow for the dissenting voice. The dissenting voice is inaction. There's no action to be taken for dissent.
You can stake in another proposal, for example, the abstain proposal, and in that case, what you are doing is to increase the. It is not changing the percentage, but yeah, that's something that it is difficult to explain because this percentage is in relation to the whole amount of tokens that are staked.
Yeah, no, I see. Yeah.
Active. So actually, if there are more people who is actively participating, it is more difficult to make a proposal pass. So
How do
yes,
they count?
there is a way that,
How is it determined if they're active? What's the trigger for that?
if you are staking your tokens in any proposal, including the abstain proposal.
I see. Oh, right. All right. I get it. In that block. Okay, yeah. In that time frame.
I didn't want to take so much time.
So active tokens are tokens that are staked on all proposals, I guess. So if you stake on the abstain proposal, then total active goes up, and it seems like the threshold is a function of active tokens. So
Yeah, exactly. So it would effectively change the. Does the threshold then move, or is it only done at the moment of making the proposal, or is it dynamic?
The percentage doesn't change, but it is in relation with the active amount.
So so it's always a referential to whatever is the active at that moment.
Yes.
So if the active plummets really quickly, then you can basically move it with a few tokens.
If it is changed
It goes
abruptly,
down.
that's a good question. If it changes abruptly, then the percentage isn't changed, but from then the conviction can accrue much faster because the relation is. It is, but it changes the pace in which conviction accrues. But it's not like now I can make anything pass and then I put again the honey in the abstain proposal.
Yeah.
It's all about paces. Okay, so I was working on this model. And I will put something like this. The next thing I will, and yes, sure. I don't know if I should put it in the fundraising repo.
I was actually thinking we can rename the repo to be the Commons upgrade.
Okay, or the Commons dashboard.
Yeah, something like that.
The thing is that it can also be used for gardens, and gardens doesn't have the bonding curve. So I don't know if it will be a good idea to do a new repo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just conviction voting modeling makes sense. Because we probably, we probably want to run. I think we can go more advanced and more deeper with, because this is good. Now we have a model like this class, this conviction voting class, and we could actually now simulate like a whole, like many proposals, and even agents, and do some agent-based modeling. We could use CAD to simulate sort of how tokens are being positioned on different votes and things like that. So I could see a conviction voting research repository evolving into its a whole like package.
Okay, it was already done by the Common Simulator, something very similar to that.
Oh right.
We can reuse that.
Excellent. So this lab sync was booked for half an hour, so I guess we've gone 10 minutes over time. Maybe it'll get upgraded to an hour. This is kind of a neat format. It could be half and half, like the sync, and then sort of people going over things, and we might even schedule topics for the future series. But we'll feel this out as it goes. And I didn't want to cut the conversation short. It was nice to get Sem's perspective on conviction voting. But I do have something that I have to hop to, so I'm going to sign off. But if anyone wants to stick around and continue conversations, you're more than welcome. The Labs channel is always open for people to hop in and share things.